With Sam's Club, you have the freedom to shop your own way. Curbside pickup? Delivered to your doorstep? Come in and grab it yourself? Yes, yes, yes. They've got plenty of options. Your call. Say yes to shopping the way you want. Join now at samsclub.com/yes and. You must be 18 years or older to purchase a membership, and membership is subject to qualifications. Visit samsclub.com/yes and for details.
Health starts with what's on your plate, because a healthy meal is more than food, it's a foundation. Nutritious meals help kids thrive in school, parents at work, and seniors in their communities. Help us put food at the center of better health for everyone. Give now at feedingamerica.org/health.
The Rev and the Rabbi on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Good morning, I'm Rabbi Joseph Potasnik.
And I'm Reverend A.R. Bernard.
Reverend, we are privileged to have with us today the 37th Commissioner of the Fire Department of New York, Lillian Bonsignore. And I've been privileged to know her, I'd say easily 20 years. All right?
It's been a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Whenever you ask a young child, what do you want to do when you get older? They'll say, I want to be a firefighter, or I want to be a policeman. And the question I often think is, what is it about being a firefighter or a policeman that captures the hearts of young people and then later on in life captured your heart?
Yeah, well, good morning to all of your listeners today. I think it's just the nature of service. I think there are special people that are just called to a job that is surrounded by service. You know, it's about showing up for those who are in need and helping the most vulnerable. And these are things that drive us. I didn't want to be a police officer or a firefighter. I wanted to be a doctor when I was young.
Oh, so your family is Jewish.
I bet you they are. I wanted to be a doctor, but my life didn't really set me up for that. And I met a couple of people in my pathway who really set me on my way. And I thank them every single day. I think because of their little bit of caring for a stranger and just grabbing hold of me and never letting go, they helped me navigate this life, which led to me becoming the 37th Commissioner of the Fire Department.
Service even at the expense of losing your life.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That's really what a statement.
But that's an interesting journey, because you had years with EMS as EMS chief, right?
I did. You know, I did 31 years with the fire department, and I retired for 3 years before coming back as the fire commissioner. When I said I wanted to be a doctor, and two women came into my pathway when I was young. I was right around 11 and 14. They did not know each other. One was my personal pediatrician, and one was an educator at the school that I went to. And each of these women interacted with me as a child, and I guess saw something in me I may not have seen in myself, and became my mentors, both of them. One was studying, medicine, and the other was education. And when I said I wanted to be a doctor, I seriously did. So that my pediatrician always knew that, and she taught me a lot. I was reading X-rays when I was a teenager. She taught me how to do that. But at one point, she says, enough's enough, because my life didn't necessarily set me up to be a success as far as going to medical school. I was one of 4 kids living in the Bronx with a single mother, and I had a child when I was 18 years old. There were challenges. She was a blessing, by the way, but there are challenges that I had to overcome that made it difficult for me to move forward with my dreams. So the doctor says, it's time you get into medicine. You need to take an EMT class, and then we'll figure out how you're going to go to medical school. So she said, I'll pay for it if you need me to, but I didn't. I paid for it, and I went to EMT school, and I came through the class. I loved the class. It was exactly what I was looking for at that time, and I got hired by EMS, which at that point was not even part of the fire department. And I fell in love with this job of service and just caring for other people. It was exactly what I needed to do. So rather than it be a summer job, it turned out to be a 31-year summer job. Yeah. I spent my life there, moving up the ranks in EMS. My entire adult life was spent there. I moved up from EMT to lieutenant, paramedic, to captain, to chief. I ran the EMS training academy for several years, and I thought that was going to be the end. That's where I'd retire from. It was the most wonderful job. I enjoyed it very much. And then I was offered the chief of EMS operation position, which meant that I was now running all of EMS. I took that job right before COVID came through New York City. So it became, very much my primary goal to navigate New York City through COVID. We know that all of our ambulances and our EMS system were on the front lines. And certainly the FDNY was out there doing ridiculously wonderful work during the most challenging times. And I spent about 4 years, it was a little less than 4 years in that position. And then I retired. It was 31 years that had gone by and time to retire. And I did, and I loved it. And then 3 years later, they offered me this position as the fire commissioner.
Wow. Commissioner, you oversee a force of over, I think more than 11,000 firefighters, 4,500 EMTs and paramedics, and another 2,000 civilian employees. That's quite a bit to have under your responsibility. What is that like?
It's wonderful. I mean, there are 17,000 plus people who are just showing up every day to do the best job they can do to provide, the highest level of care for the people in New York. We're an all hazards, all emergency response agency now. So anywhere you turn, we'll be there.
So the department obviously has changed. And I listened to part of your testimony in front of the city council. And you spoke about parity. And you said, given what we do, there should be some kind of parity, some kind of equality fiscally. And that's been advocated by a number of people over the years. And we're not at that point. Mm-hmm. So where do you see this going? I mean, is this going to be the time we finally get there? Do we have the money, or other unions going to say, well, and by the way, parity, from what I understand, is not just a challenge here in New York City. Around the country, this is an issue.
Right. EMS, compared to the other first responder agencies, is quite young as an emergency first responder agencies, or a profession. Here in New York City, EMS has been part of the fire department for 30 years. We just celebrated our 30th year anniversary, and they make a significant amount less than their counterparts, the firefighters. And it's become very difficult to get people to want to, come to a job like EMS, being an EMT or paramedic, and then stay for a long time. So, we need to have parity. We need to embrace EMS as a first responder profession and have everybody on the same level.
Wow. Have you seen, are we moving in that direction? Do you see some hope for the future?
I am very optimistic. I feel hopeful. I think I'm talking to people who want to listen and want to solve really difficult problems. It won't be easy to solve, but I do have high hopes that we're going to find ourselves in a good place and really take this problem on.
You said, of course, it's Women's History Month, 2026, and you were just celebrated as one of the pioneers within this industry. How does it feel to be among an elite group of women who have reached this level? Because, at one time, it would never happen in our world.
That is true. I'm actually the second woman to run the fire department.
That's right, Kavanaugh.
Yeah, we had Laura Kavanaugh who led the way, and I'm the second, and it feels wonderful. And I feel very supported, and I'm surrounded by amazing people who really are truly heroes, and I'm happy to be among them.
We got to go to a break, Rabbi and Commissioner, but we'll be back with more of the Rev and the Rabbi right here on Red Apple Radio Network.
Brace the runners. Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an Enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. Start converting your B2B audience today. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started today at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you stuck staring at your W-2? Are tax refund worries holding you back? You probably have FOMO, the fear of messing up. The fix? Using TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. It's time to overcome your fear of messing up and get your taxes done right. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number, 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number, save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Your favorite local grocery stores like Kroger, Ralph's, Fred Meyer, and more are now delivering on Uber Eats. Get 40% off your order of fresh, quality ingredients. Whether you just got home to an empty fridge or suddenly got a craving to whip up something new, you can get everything you need delivered in as little as 25 minutes. Get 40% off your order with code Kroger2026. Plus, members get $0 delivery fees. Order now on Uber Eats. Orders of $30 or more save up to $25. Ends 4/30/26. See app for details.
Welcome back. I'm Rabbi Joe Spotosnik.
And I'm Reverend A.R. Bernard.
And we are here with the 37th Commissioner of the Fire Department of New York, Lillian Bonsignore.
So, as we're talking about women in positions of power and influence and breaking glass ceilings, etc., and I ask you, what's that like for you? Because there are challenges being a woman and being in this kind of leadership, especially with a male-dominated entity such as a fire department. What is that like?
You know, I did spend my entire adult life here, so I think I have a little bit of a leg up when it comes to the fire department because I've known them for so long. I've grown up around them. I understand the culture and the language and the people. I've been very supported. I've been very fortunate. I think women sometimes have a struggle when they're getting into these top leadership positions, particularly, like you said, when it's a male-oriented kind of job or profession. But the experience that I've had is this. I am confident in my abilities, and I exude that confidence with the people around me, and they respect that. And I'm also never afraid to say I don't know. And, you know, the people around me are people who are willing to help. We do this for a living. We help each other. That's why we're here. So I think, it's very helpful, the fact that I have come up in this system. So we do understand each other in a different way than most other places. But for other women coming up in leadership positions, I think it's important that you just be yourself, be honest, and be confident about your abilities. And that puts people's mind at risk, not at risk, but at rest. Sometimes when they feel like, yes, this is somebody who cares, this is somebody who really understands, and this is somebody who's here to help us. And then when we need help, we should just ask for it. You know, it's not the same in every business, and I don't want to give that impression that it's just that easy, because I know it isn't that easy for everyone. But I've been very fortunate in my career.
You know what I find very impressive about you? Your sense of humility, that you don't walk into a room and proclaim that you're the smartest person in the room. You look for guidance from others who may know more. Even if they don't know more, you still make them feel your voice matters. I want to hear from you. You listen to people. And I think those are great qualities to have. And that's what makes you so respected by others, because you respect them. So, sometimes there are those who say, well, Commissioner, you didn't come up on the FDNY side. You came up on the EMS side, and yet you're leading the fire department. Does that put you at a disadvantage, even though we've had commissioners who had no fire experience, right? So what do you say to them?
Right. I would say thank you for your question, because it's an important question. When we hear something like fire commissioner, the assumption is that we're fighting fires. And the reality is, in this fire department, which is the largest in our country, we are made up of both fire and EMS services. EMS services are the bulk of the call volume that happens within the fire department. This fire department responds to 2.2 million runs per year. 1.6 million of those runs are EMS medical-related runs. So I would say that's important. And the other thing that's important is I'm the 37th fire commissioner. Of the 37, 2/3 of those people never had firefighting experience. Wow. It's an administrative civilian position, and of those fire commissioners, 37, 100% of them never fought a fire while they were fire commissioner. So, I am a paramedic also, but I'm not only here not to fight fires, I'm not here to start IVs either. My job is to secure the future of the fire department and provide for the people who work here and are willing to put their lives on the line for a stranger. That's my job. My job is to take care of the people that do this job and to make sure that New York has the best care that we can give them.
Wow. I have to comment, because every time I've heard you speak from the time that you took this role, you have been assertive but not arrogant. And to piggyback on what Rabbi said, that's important, because you got hit hard. I mean, the claims that you were DEI and that you really couldn't handle the position, on and on and on. And you always kept an even keel, pointed to your experience, and not arrogantly, but with a degree of humility. And I think that's the kind of leadership that men can follow, that everyone can follow. And I just wanted to point that out.
I appreciate that. And, I just understand that. First, I appreciate that other people have different opinions. And it did not change the fact that I was still the fire commissioner. So, I'm happy to talk through some of the information that may not be accurate. And I don't take it personally. These are people that just want to be part of a conversation. So sometimes it requires that we have difficult interactions or difficult conversation to get to the truth.
I have a very close relationship with Commissioner Cassano. You remember him?
I do. I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
He's the gold standard also in the profession. He doesn't sleep through the night. Can you be a commissioner of a department that, is called upon at any moment to save lives? Can you sleep?
No. The answer is no, we don't.
Some of us function a little sleep, but you're always one eye open, one ear open, like the phone's going to ring. Right?
I will tell you, our alarm clocks are very different from the rest of the world. When people are calling us in the middle of the night, what's on the other end is not easy. So no, we don't sleep. No.
So you can't come into a position like that without having vision. What do you see for the future of FDNY here?
Well, I'll tell you my vision. I hope it comes true. I'll put it out there in the universe. One is I hope we do get parity for EMS. I think we're going to lead the nation on this particular topic. There's a nationwide shortage of people coming into the EMS profession, and I think New York is going to be the one to make this a different type of conversation. I really feel optimistic about it. So I do see that, and I do see us investing, and it's going to be difficult. We know we're in a fiscal situation here in the city, but we have to at least push forward, really setting ourselves up for the next 50 years of service to this city. Our city is growing around us, and we have to be able to adapt and prepare some of our infrastructure to last that long. We're 160 years old as a fire department, and a lot of our buildings and things that we use are 100 plus years old. So they're showing their age. We need to invest and make sure that the people who take care of those in their moment of need have everything they need to be able to do that.
Beautiful.
Sometimes I'll ask a firefighter, if I offered you a different job, sitting behind a desk at a firm, double the salary, would you do it? And they say, no, I love this. I wouldn't give this up for anything. With all of the challenges I have to confront, it is something, it's a calling, as you said before. You see the reaction when people, see firefighters. I remember years ago, a woman told me her life was saved, EMS. And I said to her, what did you say when they arrived? She said, I looked at them and I said, I knew you would come. Mm-hmm. And I think you hear that and you recognize you're very much appreciated, you're beloved. And that's got to be a very rewarding feeling. We've come to the end of the segment. And by the way, Reverend Bernard is a co-chief chaplain.
I saw.
For NYPD.
Here we go.
I saw.
Here we go.
So, and I'm the chief chaplain. He's a co-chief.
You know what he's emphasizing, right? NYPD needs two chiefs. FDNY only needs one.
They need
right?
two.
Okay.
But, and by the way, Rev and I speak every day, multiple times a day. We talk, how can we bring together, again, FDNY, NYPD, in the service of the city of New York. And it's just, it's an honor to be in the company of firefighters, EMS people like you who, you know what, you don't give a damn what other people say. You just want to do the right thing and keep doing what you're doing. And we are the ones who are the beneficiaries of that kind of determination.
Thank you so much.
Well said.
I appreciate that.
Well said, Rebbe. Thank you for being on the program, and we're cheering you on. Because if you're successful, we're all successful. So thank you. Thank you for your story.
Thank you, Reverend. I appreciate it.
And, yeah. So stay tuned for more of The Rev and the Rabbi right here on Red Apple Radio Networks. We'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to The Rev and the Rabbi. You can hear The Rev and the Rabbi Sunday mornings at 7. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?